In this video, I'm going to try to explain to you to what extent employers are interested in you prepping a job interview. And let me just start by clarifying who gets hired, generally speaking. So generally speaking, high-performing companies would prefer hiring the top 0.5% of candidates, the exceptional types of candidates who would get the job probably even without preparing for it, right? Interestingly enough, they do actually prepare for it, but for a slightly different reason, that is to negotiate a job offer, right? And the second very common scenario of people who getting hired is when employers know pretty much in advance who they're going to hire even before they start interviewing. And I'm referring to internal candidates here, right? And if we put this into context of an employer-driven market, where there is a lot more supply than demand, you could understand, that employers don't really have much interest in helping candidates prepare for their interviews, right? Second point I'd like to talk about here is if you do choose to prep your interview and you choose to prep it extensively, like for 6 months, and I'm specifically talking about the behavioral part. You would do this, you would prepare to such an extent because you would want to bias the interviewer towards you, that is to sell yourself best and differentiate yourself from other candidates for the purpose of the specific job interview. It doesn't mean you're the better candidate, it means you interview better than others, right? Which basically is borderline cheating, if you want, when it comes to behavioral interviews. And the number one mistake candidates do here is they prep their interview so it's good enough. It doesn't, especially for the behavioral part, when in fact in an employer-driven market, as I explained previously, this will not fly. But anyway, so long story short, if you prep your interview extensively, right, for 6 months, it's in your interest, not in the employer's interest, because you want to bias the interviewer towards you, not them. Right? They very much prefer hiring an internal candidate or the top 0.5% of candidates anyway, right? This was the second one. And the third point I like to talk about here is if employers were all that interested to help everyone prepare extensively on exactly what they're actually looking for job interviews, then I have a couple of questions for you. First of all, you may well know that for any job, for any role, there are some 2-3 competencies which are key for that role. So if the employer wanted to help everyone, to do well in the interviews, they could share those 2-3 competencies even in the job descriptions, right? Now, not even the recruiter knows those 2-3 competencies, right? Or another one, if they wanted to really help everyone to have a more equitable process, if you want, they could also share the questions they're going to ask with the candidates in advance, right? Or share a pool of 50 questions, 50 possible behavioral questions that they're going to ask you for the purpose of a job interview, because they anyway ask the same questions to all candidates and in the same order for the purpose of job interview, right? And the third question, if they really wanted to help you as a candidate, they could even pay you to prep the job interview. And I'm not saying to pay you a salary for this, but rather to pay you for resources to help you prep for the interview, training, coaching, and these things. Like the best I've seen is some employers assign an employee as a coach, to help the candidates through their journey. But if they really had an interest in this, they would pay you to become a proficient candidate and proficient with interviewing in general. So hopefully this explains and this helps you to understand where the balance of interest stands in this exchange. I hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for watching.